Hey Gwenters, it's good to see you and welcome to another episode of Gone Gwenting. Today I really want to make a beginner's video. I feel like the tutorial does a great job of explaining to you what you need to do to play 3 rounds of Gwent. In fact, it gives you a few games you can play. The first couple you don't even ever play again because you only get a few cards in the first couple rounds, but the other games do a decent job of at least explaining to you the basic fundamental pieces of the game. What they don't do at all is explain how you move forward or progress in the game, how you get better, how you have more enjoyment out of this game. So I'm going to kind of give 5 points today about what we can do. Let's get into it. All right, first thing we want to do is think about how you collect more cards. Cards are the bread and butter of this game. The more cards you have, the more types of decks you can build, the more special assignments you can do, the more contracts you can fulfill, which help you get more cards. But as we all know, the basic fundamental part of this game is to have a deck. So let's open up Deck Builder here and start focusing on how we might want to develop some more cards. And this time, I'm going to go over a basic strategy of how you can develop a specific deck. So as a big fan of The Witcher, especially of Witcher 3, I really wanted to get a deck full of Witcher cards. So I did some searching here to find out which decks would have the best Witcher cards. Now go down to the bottom search bar like I just did, type in Witcher, and you can see all Witcher cards from all factions. So we're going to scroll through here, look at what we've got. So we got Viper Witcher. Now you'll notice at the top right of this card it has a regular base set symbol, but you'll also notice the banner is black, which indicates it's actually a Nilfgaard card. So as I scrolled through here, I noticed that there were some neutral cards. This Eskel, Lambert, and Vesemir set can be called all at the same time. Helps you thin out your deck. We've also got Ciri. We've got Mad Kian, who ends up being a Northern Realms card. Trail of Grasses, which is a special card. We got Ciri Dash, Ivo of Belhaven. There's a bunch of options that we have. But the first thing I want to do is decide which faction I want to be. So I'm going to pull down this menu and see how many we have in each faction. None in Monsters. We got several in Nilfgaard that are Nilfgaard specific. Looks like we have 6. Then we got 1 in Northern Realms, Mad Kian, like I was just saying. If you've played Witcher 3, you know who he is. He's a pain in the butt to fight. But in this game, he has kind of a weird mechanic. He damages the amount by the amount he's boosted. So you got to get a pre-boost in the deck. And it looks like there's not anybody else in any of these other decks that are specific. The rest are just neutral, which means they can be added to any deck with any lead. So I think I'm going to make one out of Nilfgaard. I like Seret, I like Ox, I like Letho, I like their story arc from the second Witcher. So let's just build a deck with these guys. Now, one thing you always want to be careful of is noticing when you pick that leader ability, it comes with a number associated to it. And this is going to be part of my second tip for beginners. Focus on building a full deck. Keep track of those provision counts. These are critical to the game, and you want to fill those up as much as possible unless you're trying to accomplish the impossible task of winning the contract of 100 provisions or less, which notably has to be exactly 100 provisions because it's 25 cards of 4 provisions each. Makes it impossible. I've been trying to do that. I'll try to make a video on how to do it after I figure it out. But right now, let's get out of here. Let's focus on how to get some specific cards. So right now, what I really want to focus on, I've collected 34 keys, and I'm going to use those keys to unlock some specific cards. So the tutorial doesn't walk you through this, but you want to open up your storybook like I just did, bottom right of the screen. You can click on it there. Another thing you can do is you can actually just click directly on the key at the top part of your screen. That'll bring you to storybook. There's 2 main pages to storybook. You'll notice the top one has your basic card factions, and the bottom one actually has Syndicate, Year of the Boar, and then the other expansions, Thronebreaker, Iron Judgment, and Crimson Curse. Let's pop into Year of the Boar. So I've already started this one. I picked up Lambert just a little while ago, and then I realized, hey, look, you got Lambert, Vesemir, and down below we also have Eskel. Now, Eskel, Vesemir, and Lambert, these specific cards are each only worth 2, but whenever you play one, it pulls the other 2 from your deck and plays them all in a row. It actually makes a cool picture, and these ones are already premium cards, so they already have the the cool GIF image that they have going on here. They also set up in a row and make kind of a mural, but more importantly, they work as thinning cards. Now, a thinning card, and I'll talk more about this later as we talk about how to play the game, but when you're building a deck, you always want to have a couple thinning cards. Essentially what they do is when you play one, it'll call 1 or 2 other of the same type of card to the deck. That way when you draw in your second and third hands, you have less of a chance of getting those cards, and instead you have a better chance of getting your really sweet, awesome cards like the Geralt Axii or the Geralt Igni, Letho of Golett, the Kingslayer, some of those awesome cards we're going to build here in a second. But right now, we're just going to progress through this story tree, collect some of this ore in order to build ourselves a really cool Witcher deck. So another thing you can do here, because these cards were based in the Nilfgaard pack, I really like to work on those faction trees on that other tab. So let's flip up there, go to Nilfgaard, open that up, and inside the Nilfgaard deck, you're going to notice this really weird tree. You can unlock different skins. When you unlock those skins, it'll actually unlock individual trees. But right now, I just want to get this base set and a few extra ore, so I can open some base set kegs. So let's pop this one open. All right, pop that. So it looks like we have nearly 1,300 ore. We just pulled 2 Nilfgaard kegs, and we have a bunch of scraps. So again, recapping, we just want to start first, focus on your cards. Second, focus on using those keys in reward books. Third, get cards by buying packs. Now, one of the things I love most about the Witcher Gwent card game is how free to play it is. You can get keys by just playing games. You don't even have to fulfill contracts, but contracts will also help you get a lot of keys, and we'll walk through that in a moment. But you can also, as you get those keys, get ore. And as you play games, you also get some side ore. And as you get ore, you can buy kegs. You can buy 4 different types of kegs, and there's a premium keg you can pay money for if you want to have shiny cards. But it doesn't really give you that much of a boost in terms of legendary or epic cards. All right, in order to buy kegs, you're going to go to the shop. So pull that up right here. You can do that 2 ways. You can go to the main screen, you can click shop, or you can just click on the ore symbol at the top of your screen and it'll take you straight here. So let's click on kegs, open those up. And like I said, there's 5 different options here. The top left is the only one that charges you money. The other ones are the Iron Judgment keg, the Crimson Curse keg, the base set keg, and the Novigrad keg at the bottom. Oh my gosh. Oh, itchy nose. Hate itchy noses. All right. We just pulled 12 base set kegs. Let's pop those up and pop open our Nilfgaard kegs. The easiest way to open kegs, you can either click on them on the top right of the screen, or you can just click open goodies when you're ready to open those up. So let's start with the Nilfgaard kegs. I really want to know if I can pull some of these Witchers straight from a Nilfgaard keg. These will be Nilfgaard specific, so Viper Witchers, Letho of Golett, and Letho Kingslayer we can get from here. Looks like we've popped all those we've popped all those kegs. So we're coming up here now on my 4th tip, which is to generate specific cards for specific decks. So right now, we're building a Nilfgaard deck focused on Witchers. And I'm going to run you through a few cards that I think are key to building a fantastic Witcher deck, which honestly has been one of the most fun decks I've played with. Now, you've seen my Draco Turtle video. That one's tons of fun, but it can kind of fall apart if they pick on certain cards. This Witcher deck has a lot of flexibility. So let's whip this one open. Right now I have strategic withdrawal that I have associated here. I'm going to walk you through why that's important in a moment. But right now let's just pull up our Witchers. You can see broken down, they go in order of provision cost. One thing I'm going to highlight here, you can see at the top I have 9 cards total in my deck, 8 unit cards, and 100 remaining provisions. So you get 150 provisions plus whatever the leader ability is. So here I can get a max of 165 provisions worth of cards. Witchers are relatively high. But right now, I'm going to pull up what I think is the most central card to building this Witcher deck, which is Vesemir Mentor. He boosts all Witchers in hand, in play, and in deck. All Witcher cards by 1. Fantastic card for building a Witcher deck. As long as you have a bunch of them, all of those cards are boosted, whether they're on the board already, in your hand, or in your deck yet to be drawn. All right, 2 more I really like. Geralt Aird and Geralt Igni, I think, are 2 great paired cards. But I'm going to come back to those in a second. Let's scroll down. My other one I think that is a great card, Letho of Gulet. You'll notice here, legendary cards have an enormous cost affixed to them. These ones each cost 800 scraps, which is just unreal. It's a lot of scraps. Most of the other cards, it goes down dramatically when you build those epic cards. They only cost 200. But these legendary cards are fantastic. So I've saved up quite a bit here. Whenever you get those bonus cards, you can mill by clicking on the top right of the screen to get more of those shards. And right here, we're going to pop open Geralt Aird and Geralt Igni. So you'll notice Aird will target 3 enemies, damage them by 3, send them to the back row. Geralt Igni, on the other hand, destroy the highest units on a row that has 20 or more power. So you need to make sure to target a row with a lot of power on that row, but then it'll kill the highest units. So say you have 2 units on, or 3 units on the front row, 2 on the back row. There's only 11 points back there. Well, you can use Aird, send those 3 units on the front row to the back, drop your Igni, torch whatever characters are the same vitality. So make sure you watch that. If they have some boosting going on, that's going to match up. Make sure you hit that. So you'll also notice here, I'm going to whip out some of this meteorite ore, make these cards look pretty. I just think it's fun, but also it's helping me work towards another contract. One thing I've learned, the first card I put meteorite ore on, I'm a big fan of Yorvith. I bought Yorvith's Gambit first off. I made it pretty. I have it as my stock card in my profile. Stupidly, it doesn't go on the board, so you can't show it off. So if you're somebody who really wants to show off the cute cards that you've assembled, make sure to do it to a card that sticks to the board. Geralt Igni and Geralt Aird are both going to stick on the board, so I'm going to pop those up. And then I also want to work on developing all of these Geralt cards. All right, now let's pull this down. So you see I have 14 character cards, 15 total cards in my deck. You need 13 character cards in order to complete a deck, but you need 25 total cards. And I only have 45 provisions left. So just doing some basic math, 10 divided by 45 is 4.5. So I'm going to be able to take about 5 4-provision cost cards and 5 5-provision cost cards, or do several 4-provision cost cards and then have a couple of really better cards. But as you scroll down on the left side, you can see I've got Geralt Igni, Letho Kingslayer, Vesemir Mentor, Geralt of Rivia, Geralt Aird, Letho of Gulet, Sarah Eskel, Vesemir, Lambert, and then I've got Ox just below that as well. So again, we got those thinning cards, Eskel, Vesemir, Lambert. As long as we pop out Vesemir Mentor first, those will actually all get boosted to 3. So you play one of those cards and you have 3 vitality cards out on the board. That's 9 points straight off, and you've thinned your deck. So those are big win cards, which is in large part why they are a higher provision cost. But I'm going to pull in Master of Disguise like I just did. I think he's pairs really well with Ox, who has that lock ability. As long as there's a locked unit on the board, he's going to gain 1 vitality every turn. But he also pairs well with Letho of Gulet, who, whenever you have Ox in hand, will lock a character, and if you also have Serret in hand, he'll damage a character by 3. So I think Letho is a great completionist character for that trio of cards. He is constrained to the Nilfgaard deck, which is the only reason I think he is only 8 provision cost. I think that he is a fantastically flexible card. And I love Letho. Let's all be honest. He's kind of a creepy dude from Viper School, but we like creepy once in a while. All right, I'm just gonna pull in some of these other tactic cards. One of the downsides I find with building a Witcher deck is there's not a lot of high vitality cards. They do a lot of damage. They annoy people a lot. They mix up the board. They rearrange cards. But what they don't do is have a lot of points. So I think if I add some cards in here that'll develop some points, that'll give me a more well-rounded deck. I can kind of toy with that a little bit more. Also note my leader ability is strategic withdrawal, which will let me play a card, pull it back to my hand, boost it by 2, and then put a card back out. I think this is a great combo. Note that it has to be a Nilfgaard card, but it's a great combo with that Letho of Golett, Serret, and Ox trio. I can drop down Ox, lock a card, pull him back up, drop down my Master of Disguise. I've got an ongoing vitality every turn, and I still have my Ox to use in the next round if I want to use that, and he's boosted by 2. So it's kind of win-win-win. I think it's a great card to use. It also gives you a 15 provision cost boost. Now there's some that are higher, up to 17, but it's definitely better than being limited to 11. All right, so right now I've got 5 provision costs left. I'm at 25 cards. I'm going to drop out Samum because I have enough Witcher cards that do some damage. And then I'm going to add in Fionn von Garnael. All right, so you'll also notice here, like I said, working on contracts. That's my 5th piece of advice for you. Work on those contracts. You can keep 5 tagged at any time. Stay on those. If you want to look at them, pull up your character screen. That's top left of your menu. Pull it down. You can click on contracts at the bottom. You can see summary. That'll show you most recent ones you completed. You can show 5 tracked. Right now I have 2. You see Fashionista and Poor Man's Gwent. I'm going to make a separate video on Poor Man's Gwent and how much of a pain in the butt it is. But also the Fashionista one is why I spent that meteorite ore. It got me 2 more keys. Now you can go through and I can spend, and I will spend, at least one video on contracts. You want to keep these in the back of your mind, and you want to scroll through here every once in a while. Swap out those tracked ones just to keep it fresh on your mind when you have an upcoming key. Those reward point keys are, again, the first element in getting more cards. And again, cards is how you build up this game, how you have fun with this game, how you can enjoy and play new decks as they release new characters or new leader abilities, etc., etc. And if you're somebody who wants to play Syndicate, for example, you start off with 0 cards for them. So you really got to get into that deck by buying Novigrad Kegs, most specifically. But you can also use neutral cards there too. All right, so scrolling through here, if you've been looking in the background, you're annoyed at me talking, you can see there's a ton of contracts, and they each relate a lot to different decks. I mean, Berserk is very clearly aligned with the Skellige faction, Harmony with Scoia'tael, Bloodstained, bleeding comes from a lot of decks, but especially monsters and vampire. Destroy units using poison, that's in several different decks. Vitality's in every deck. Shield, every deck. Except for monsters, they don't really have so much of a shield character, at least one that grants shield. And then you have a lot of generic quests that you can mark to keep track of when you're close, but you're just going to get them over time. And then we pull down here into the leader abilities. Now, you have to win 100 matches with each leader ability. Each time you do that, you're going to get 3 reward points. Then you're also going to build toward your borders for your specific factions, which are the pretty thing that go around your avatar next to your character name. So anyway, I'm going to make another video on contracts. I'm not going to get too much into it, but you want to keep an eye on these. This is how I got 35 reward points. One note on this channel, I have only played mobile. So I'm going to approach this channel from somebody who picked up the mobile game. I think it's going to be helpful for when you're trying to recruit more friends or family to play this game with you. I really want this channel to be used to share with them because that's what I'm using it for. I'm gonna send it to my brother, my mom, my wife. I mean, I've gotten several people to start playing this game, and I'm gonna try to get more. But I want this to be useful for them, and they're not gonna have this depth of knowledge of, oh yeah, when we played the Thronebreaker tutorial, or when I did the special quests related to Geralt, that those don't exist anymore. Those aren't there, and maybe they'll come back again. I don't know. I have no idea, but I'm not basing my suggestions off of those types of things that were previously in the game. So again, please post a comment down below if you would like to hear something specific. But right now, I'm just gonna just focus on that. All right, I'm getting out there. I'm gonna play a game, have some fun. You should do the same. So go on. Thank you for joining me. Go with Gwenting.